Hey, welcome to episode 6 of Mnft Freedom. My name is Scott Smith, and with me, as always, we have Rochelle Young. How you doing tonight, Rochelle?
I am fantabulous, so to speak. Dripping
Awesome.
nose. It's a little cold. What is it?
Oh my gosh, it
54?
is it is stupid cold. Yeah,
Yes,
it is
yes.
so ridiculously cold. And you know what's crazy is next week I'm in Pennsylvania, and next week it's going to be Wednesday, almost 60 degrees. So it's almost impossible to imagine,
I am here for the 60-degree weather. I'm
right?
hibernating at the minus 54.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man. So how have you been? You been doing all right?
It's when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way. And here's the funny part to that, Scott. Um, um, Crypto Duchess, right? I work with her on the Learning Collective, right? And she had made a post that says, "When it rains, it pours." So here I come with my high frequency, high vibrational energy, telling you, "Oh, it just means that you can weather the storm." And
Right.
she hits me with, it's tough when one of your parents die. Of course, I offered my condolences and stuff, but I'm laughing at it now, right?
Hmm.
Talking about, oh, when it rains, it pours. Oh, you just, look at the cup half full. I'm like, oh, no, I can't do that this week.
Yep.
Everything just did not work. Just didn't work. Didn't
Yeah,
want to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I always have this superstition that, everything bad happens in threes, right? I don't know if that's just, me or this area or whatever, but it almost always seems to hold true that, once one thing happens, then another thing. And I know there's a third thing coming. And as soon as I get through that, everything's going to turn around for me. And I think it's all superstition, but, it's held pretty true.
You know what's really really hard when you're a geek, when you're a tech geek, right? And you know what security is, and so you have two-factor authentication on everything. But when all of your devices are Apple and you do an update, you
Yeah.
have to log back into some of these applications, right?
Hmm.
Two-factor authentication means that you need to have either your iPhone or iPad working while your Mac. That's the update. You don't install all the updates across all devices at the same time. So yeah,
Right.
lesson learned.
Yeah. It happens, right? Um, so yeah, anyway, we've had 5 episodes and we talked about a lot of things coming up to this point. A lot of it is the psychology behind it, our mindset,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
Um, with the end goal in mind. And, I've been just swamped with, personal things, and then work has been just crazy lately. But this week I put together a worksheet that is not quite what I started with, but when I started with my venture on getting on the right path, I did start with the worksheet, and I started by figuring out what my budget is. And I thought, well, it's easy to say that, and we've talked about how easy it is to say, but we've not really telling people how to go about getting started. So I created a worksheet, and I figured I'd share it and explain it. And maybe we could run through and do a overall example of how someone could utilize something like this to, figure out their own personal finances, right? What do you think?
I absolutely love that you did that. I will actively be taking notes. Um, because seriously, I do very well with verbal structures or things in place to
Hmm.
help me stay on track. When it comes to pen and paper, I am the biggest procrastinator. I don't
Yep.
care if it's just clicking a file to send it. Once I know it has to be some type of text document or I have to input some type of data, yeah, I'm busy doing nothing. Right. So I
Right.
love that you did this because it also gives me an opportunity to work through it with the audience as well.
Absolutely. So let me pull that up, and I'll just go through and explain it. And here, I'm going to make it a little bigger over my calculator, but we're going to need that calculator in a little bit. All right. So all this information I pulled off of various sites that pr- pretty much are giving financial advice, right? We're not financial advisors, you and myself, and uh, we cannot, give that type of advice out there. But what these sites are saying is that, you know, for and I kind of changed the title of them, but like the first one here is the needs group, and I used, your phrase there, the, needs rather than, uh, whatever you want to call it. But this would include, things like your rent or your mortgage, your household, right?
I,
And if you
I,
got
I'm sorry,
okay.
Scott. I did want to say that I'm like that. We are starting this week. We've covered the mental, and so
Yep,
now we're going to the practical, right? And we were supposed to have our financial advisor guest on tonight, Matthew. He did agree, so I love that we're starting with it. So here's your basic, and if you've been tuning in every episode, make sure you're paying attention to this one because when he comes on next week, you want to already have like a game plan on questions that you want to ask him. Sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's kind of why I did it, because I felt like we talked about the mindset, we talked about beginning with a budget, we talked about having a goal for the end, that you want to be able to achieve. And we need to give people a place to start. And this may not be entirely accurate. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but I took information that I found, and it says for your mortgage or rent, which would include, if your mortgage, you're buying, real estate tax, school tax, insurance, and then maintenance. The most of your income that you should apply to this is 30%, right? And then we go down to your utilities. Again, falls under the needs, because you can have a house or you can rent an apartment, but if you don't have heat or electric in it, it's not a very good place to live, right? um, so they say that this group here should not take up more than 10% of your income every month. All right. And then we go down here to the next one, which are your
I can't,
essentials.
I can't see it. Which group should only take up 10%? I can't see the fine print on that.
Oh, that's utilities. Here, let me see if
Okay,
I can,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
let me see here. Maybe I can make it larger. Uh,
This is actually pretty good because Hopi wants to expand on her own, and we were having this discussion about what bills that needs to be paid on a regular basis and what she should be looking at as a young person trying to get a job for the first time, want to have her own place. Um, so this is really good. This is really good.
all right. So is that better? Can you see it now?
Yes, I can. Thank you. You know I'm blind.
Well, and depending
Visually
on
challenged.
and depending on what size screen, if you're watching on a phone or a mobile device, I mean, it's got to be hard to read because it's even smaller, right? So, yeah, so we got our needs group, which is your residence, all right, your utilities, which is what you need to, keep that residence livable. And then we go down to the next one, the purple section here. This is essentials. This is things like groceries. Now I threw restaurants in here because it's, food. But you would have a car payment if you have a car payment, car insurance. This would be your health insurance, your transportation, your phone, internet, and then I have a few others here because something might be essential to somebody that isn't essential to the list that I have there. All right, and that essentials should not take up more than 15% of your monthly income. And this is, again, according to multiple sites that I had looked at as to the breakdown of, debt to income and how you should balance everything. Um, and then this next one is your revolving credit. I have 5 credit cards listed. And then I also threw car payment in here as well. Okay. Because car payment could be a essential depending on where you live and how you are able to get to work, or it could be a want, like we talked about before, where you don't necessarily need it. You could walk or ride a bike or take public transportation, but you want it, right? So that's why there's 2 different car payments there. Okay.
And the 5 credit cards, is that a recommendation for a person starting out? They should have at least five or
No,
okay.
no, no, no. I just put 5 on there because I just put 5.
Okay,
Uh,
gotcha.
you
Sorry.
know, I and I didn't really look up what the, what the recommended is. Personally, I believe in two. Have one for an emergency, and then have one that you use to build your credit. And I'll explain, how I use it a little later. But um, they say that your revolving credit should not take up more than 25% of your income. Okay.
I love that you're recommending because that's what you do for yourself. Just to having this discussion now with
Hmm.
Marie on credit, as you know. So I love that this is a part of it, and I could take this to her and say, okay, this is what you should be looking at when you apply for credit, and how many you already have.
Yep. Absolutely. And then coming down here to the next one in green, I have savings. And I have, savings one, savings two, CDs, bonds, stocks, crypto, NFTs, and then a couple of others, right? Others could be, a, and I guess I should rename that one, not savings, but investment maybe, because other could be a, uh, piece of real estate that you buy and you rent out that is producing money coming in, right? That could qualify as an investment and fall under this category. Okay. Um, so here they say that you should do right, allocate 10% of your monthly income to this bracket, to investing for your future. Okay. And then moving down to the bottom, I have spending. This is the wants, right? This also falls under the, you got to treat yourself every so often. You got to, uh, go get your nails done. You got to, be able to go and have a good time at the movies with friends or family or whatever it is. That's where this bracket falls. And they say that 10% of your income should be allocated to that. All right.
Megan wants to know why you always mention nails.
Well, I mentioned nails because, I, and she should know pretty well, but she's always saying, "Hey, can I get this?" And she's asking me, and you know what kind of no friend I am. Um, I'm like, "Well, do you really want it?" And she's like,
Terrible no friend. Terrible no friend.
she's like, "Yeah, I really want it." I'm like, "Well, then get it." um, yeah. So, in any case, I have all of these sections, a goal total here. All right. And this is kind of what I did when I started, right? Because I started organizing and starting from, the top down and really just seeing where I was sitting. And the longer or the further along I got within that process, I started finding that, you know what? I'd much rather start raising this, right? Get that 10% up to 15 or to 12 even, and keep adding more there so that I don't have to keep doing the grind as long, right? So that's what I have the goals. The goals are really just a different way that I put together that I, think should be a goal for everybody. But again, that goal could be anything for you. It could be, maybe not 10%, maybe 10% is enough for you. And that all comes down to your age. Okay. And what I mean by that is if you are 18, fresh out of high school, 10% is plenty, right? If you can do more, by all means, do more. But if you're, mid 40s and you're just starting now, you want this number to be as high as possible because your time and the ability to compound what you are saving is getting shorter. So the money that you're putting in isn't going to have as long to work for you. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Perfect. All right. So I also threw on here a month end balance. All right. If it is red, that means that you are negative and you got to figure out ways to cut and rebalance, right? Here, let me put $1 in here for income. Okay.
Wait, are you
And
saying that red is not a good thing every month?
red,
Are you
red is.
doing it wrong? Listen, this is real world adulting, man. If you're in the green, you're winning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so red is bad. So, if you end the month with a positive balance from income with, paying everything that you pay out, this little box will be green. And if you noticed, everything kind of changed here. So this here's your balance sheet. Over down here, the spending category, that turned green because it's less than the 10%. This category in your savings turned red because it's less than 10%. Under your revolving credit, it's green because it's less than 10%. And actually, these lower ones, they all of a sudden light up if you're less than the lower 10%, the goal total. And you'll see that throughout the whole thing. Okay. And then up top here, it has the breakdown of where your funds are going. So you can quickly take a glance and say, okay, well, I'm really over on my essentials. I need to, see how I can cut that back. And, but I'm really low on utilities, whatever it may be, you know. But I figure what we do is we take the average income of, a person who's entering the workforce across the United States with no education, no experience, just entering. I did pull that up here, and that is average starting salary. I just Googled it. Average starting salary with no experience. Okay,
I
now
like that.
this,
I like that it's adjustable.
oh,
Like
yeah,
it's set in stone. I like that.
absolutely. And you're going to see how it works because not only do I have, your essentials, but right here, it's going to show what your budget looks like. And then you can compare it to what the goal budget looks like. And then down here, it'll show you your debt to income. Pretty cool.
Depth, depth, depth to income is a big one that people don't really consider.
Yep.
Um, because remember the old adage was, oh, as you know, have as much credit as you can handle. But the truth is, it affects you in a negative way. I'm glad you're
Yep.
talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this here will really, if you're a renter and you're looking to, your dream is to always buy a house, that's your end goal, right? Well, this is going to help you determine, your ability and how the bank is going to look at you as far as being able to pay that loan back. I mean, they look at other things too, but, this just kind of gives you kind of a scorecard of where you're currently sitting. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I like it. Simple, plug and
Yep.
play. Plug and
Yeah.
play.
So let's make this, I'm going to make it smaller here because I want to bring my calculator in so we can figure this out. All right. So average starting salary across the United States as of January 27th, 2023 is $44,861, right? So we're going to punch that in here. 44,861. Now, got to give Uncle Sam their cut, right? So Uncle Sam usually gets right around 30%. So that's 13,458 that's getting withheld from your paycheck that you are not going to see. So let me clear that and do it the right way. 44861 times 0.7. So your actual bring home income is 31,402. Now, this is where it gets a little sketchy because when you look at your debt to income, the bank looks at your before tax income. So they'll look at that 44,000 and compare it. And that's where people can get in trouble. Okay. And what I mean by that is, they can overextend themselves on, credit cards or loans or things along that line. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I like it.
All right. And feel free to chime in here because I'm going to just kind of start plugging these numbers in.
I want to see it work. So yeah, nope. I'm paying attention.
All right. Hey, I do see we got Yomi in the house and also Dr. Tammy's in the chat. So pretty cool. All right. So 31,402. All right. Let's say that you're just starting out. you're 19 years old. This is the first job that you've gotten. You don't have a spouse, you don't have a pension, no social security coming in, and you haven't even started investing. So you don't have any passive income coming in this section here. Okay. So our total income for the month is $31,402. All right. What I also did was I looked at what the current market is on apartments, right? Because you're going to need a place to live. Ideally, if you are living at home and you don't have to pay any of this, bonus, right? Because then this is green and that gives you $9,420 that you can, use for something else, right?
So what I'm hearing is I'm better off staying in mama's basement and paying her as minimal rent as possible.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But let's say you don't. Let's say you're out on your own. I looked up two-bedroom apartments and they range in price. I found one as low as $370, but I'm thinking that is, per person or there's some other fees involved. But, here's one for 880. Here's one for 970. So we'll use this one here, 970. So everyone can see what I'm doing. 970 divided by 2, because hopefully if you're getting a two-bedroom, you're going to have a roommate, right?
You're
Yes.
asking the anxiety ridden hate people person to have a roommate. And that's a real conversation. Let's have that real conversation. This is how um, I learned to be social. Was going away to college. Listen, college is not for everyone,
Yep.
but for me, it really was the building block to learning how to operate as an adult and tolerate other people that and I don't mean to say the word tolerate like I can't stand people, but which is true, but still it means that um, it gives you an opportunity to not only learn about other cultures, learn about different people, but help build your social network, right, as you go along. So that's a great conversation to have. You're
Mhm.
moving out of mom and dad's. College may not be for you. Do you want the responsibility of having an apartment all on your own, or does it make sense for now to create the wealth that you want to have a roommate?
Right. So that's, that's a viable question, right? You have to look at that and say, hey, can I manage a $970 rent payment?
Yomi says yes. I know I'm not going to have a roommate.
That's why I put it up there. So no roommate. All right. Um, all right. So no roommate. And I think this guy here, what's going on? B16. C2. Ah, hold on. Oh, no, that's right. Okay. So we're looking at this as this is a yearly income. We're doing monthly here. So one thing I didn't do, which is should have done, is this here 31,402 divided by 12. Nope, divided by 12.
So what you're saying is, thank God we're having an actual financial advisor come on next week, so we have the right numbers. That is not from here.
Yes, yes. So now everything kind of works out here. Okay, so we're looking at it on a monthly basis. I should put monthly somewhere up here. Um, but at $970 a month for rent, we are over that 30%. We're at 3707. So, that means we have to cut corners somewhere else if that's what we want. Or we do this and let's change that to one bedroom.
And here's the thing, Scott. I'm glad you mentioned that 30%, right? If
Hmm.
anyone has ever had a rental application, that's what it asks, that the rent be only 30% of your income, which leads you to say, hey, do you have a box I can rent? Right? Because that's the only way, it's
Yep.
30% of your income. And that's something I think rather than looking for other places to cut corners, that you need to have a realistic expectation once you're moving out on your own. I think 30% should actually be about 40% because it's actually more realistic.
Right. And looking at this, I put in one bedroom apartment, and this one popped up again that said, where is it? Right here, $368. That is the only one that popped up like that. So I don't know. And that says for a two bedroom. But all the one bedrooms are actually almost as much. So we'll use this guy here at 831. That seems like it's pretty standard because
And that house gives me Jeffrey Dahmer vibe. I'm just saying.
yeah, Yomi doesn't want to live with anybody.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I'm good.
All right, so that gets us closer. Look, you're at 31.76, so we're just over. So that's not bad. Okay. So coming down here to our utilities. All right. The average cost for utilities, and this is forrent.com. So not my information. This is just the average. All right. Electric, $70, gas is 50, and fuel oil is 81. Usually, I don't know. I mean, have you ever heard of gas and fuel oil in the same home or same apartment? It's usually
Um,
just one or the other and electric, right?
in
Yep.
places like Straw Creek Estates, they have both the
Okay.
propane tank. Yeah, yeah. In some
All right.
places they do, depending on the weather.
Okay. So let's do that. Electric is 70, gas and oil. We'll add those together because I kind of combine them. Maybe I have to separate them. So that's going to be 131.
And here's a good way. While you're doing that, here's a good way to save too, Scott. Um, Try looking for apartments that have all utilities included, or
Yep.
even consider doing where they have just a room, renting a room or like a studio,
Hmm.
because most of those are all utilities included. It's a smaller space, but it's your space, right? And it kind of it gives you the opportunity to see if you can do roommates, right? Because you have to share a common bathroom and kitchen. And so if you want to move out and get a two-bedroom, there's nothing wrong with starting with a room for rent or a studio, especially if it has all utilities paid, because utilities can be very expensive if you live in some states like Pennsylvania, where your gas, where your heat is electric based.
Hmm. 100%. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Wherever you can cut corners, by all means, cut corners. If you're renting, most people are going to have a water and sewer bill, which is going to range from $60 to $69. We'll just use 65 for water and sewer because it's right in the middle.
And this is where I'm going to go ahead and rant about
Go ahead.
American water. You should know what I'm talking about. This is my. Oh, maybe I should mention them by name. Okay, so once you become an adult, the first thing you learn to curse is your utility company. Like, I am
Right.
one person. What do you mean my bill is this high? I keep the house in darkness and I have a candle.
Yeah. 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 No kidding. I mean, it does catch you off guard sometimes. But yeah. Wow. My, yeah, we got
You know
our
I have to
electric
make it
bill
fun,
this
right,
month, and
Scott?
I don't know what's that.
I said, I have to make it fun, right? It's just me. I'm going to question everything going down that list as it pops up.
Absolutely. And, talk about surprises. I mean, I had an electric bill come in for last month that was exponentially more than what they've been in the past. And it's because the rate's gone up. And I shopped for my electric and I got, the best rate I could find at the time. And that was 11 cents per kilowatt, but it still, was an astronomical bill. So these can catch you off guard and really make you aware of how long your showers are, right? Or, you know, um, leaving the TV on or lights on. The normal things that parents yell at their kids for, right?
Not only that, make sure that when you get your utilities, that it is an actual read of your meter. Because if you move in and it's not an actual read of your meter, it's an estimate, right? When they actually do get access to the meter and they read it, you could be in for several $100s worth of surprise. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So, yeah. So if you look, we got your utilities again, just slightly over, and our balance right now from our income is $1,500 a night, or $1,519. All right. So I'm gonna ask you to give me an idea, because I did not look up what the average cost of groceries are for one person. What would you say this number is per month?
Well, what have we paid so far? We paid our electric, our gas, our water.
Yep, we
Oh,
paid
did we pay
all of
rent?
our needs.
Oh, we paid all of our needs.
All of our needs. Now we're at our essentials. This is what we need to live. So this is, our nourishment for ourselves. This is if you need a phone or internet to conduct work, if you need transportation to get back and forth to work, all those things, which the first thing on the list is groceries.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be poor at the end of this. So let's see. Give me a minute. I'm trying to read it. Okay, here's the thing. I see seven. What is that? 785 on that.
785.
Yeah. Well, we've paid. You said we had a balance of how much after we paid the needs list?
$1,519.
Shit. Let's go out to dinner.
Yes.
Wait, we got more stuff we gotta pay.
We got more stuff. We got more stuff. We got a lot of
Wow.
stuff coming up. Yeah. So
Okay, this is
that.
when I start to penny pinch. So groceries.
Yep.
So essentially, what I did was live on beer and don't do as I do. This was back then. Whereas a loaf of bread and a 6-pack of beer. That
Yep.
was it. Don't do as I did. 10% for groceries. Um, yeah, no. That's not gonna work. Um, my son will be 21 in March. He's a growing young man.
Hmm.
Um, and you should know this because you have a son. What the hell? You guys just eat. You just
Yep.
eat, right? You just eat. So it's important though that you have a really well balanced diet. Don't I don't think that I think groceries should be definitely a needs list. And I would say given the price of eggs, which is just ridiculous. I don't care because I don't like eggs. But given the cost of what I'm seeing at the grocery store, I think that should be bumped up maybe 12 to 15%. Scott.
So I was guessing, for an individual for a week, if you're being very conscious, personally, I was thinking about $400, $100 a week.
That could be
With
reasonable because I buy groceries from Mark and I spend on average maybe about 130 a week.
Yeah. Now, I've had this conversation with my son. He's getting ready to go to college. And I shared with him what I lived on my first year at college, which was SpaghettiOs and ramen noodles. Now, back in that bygone era, right, you could get 20 things of cup of noodles for $1, and you could get 10 cans of SpaghettiOs for $1. So,
We do the SpaghettiOs, but let me tell you something. I have created some meals with ramen
oh,
noodles.
yeah.
Okay? I mean, Michelin star quality meals with ramen noodles. So don't underestimate your is it gastric your talents in the kitchen when you're cooking on a budget. And there are lots of really great shows about that too.
Yep. Absolutely. Yomi says $250 to $300 for one person. So we will do that because she said that she's
A
living
week,
by herself.
a week, 200. What the heck?
Not a week, a month.
Oh, a
A
month.
month. A month.
Okay. I was about to
Yeah.
say you better put back that lobster and that shrimp. You better put that back and go look for some hot dogs.
Yeah. So a month. So if we look down here, that $300 has taken 11% of our income out of the 15 that is recommended, right? So are we going to eat out at all for the month? Yes, no, maybe.
Well, I will tell you, one of the things that I did a lot was when they had, you know how Applebee's used to have those specials on certain days, you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
appetizer and things like that. I
Yep.
would buy that on my way home from work for lunch the next day.
Yep. So do you remember what the cost was?
It was like the happy hour. So you go in, it was like $6. You got wings, you got tacos, and the appetizer tray, right? You got it for like only $6. So if it this is where you know most Europeans go like, oh my god, Americans just waste a lot of food. Sometimes when you go to a restaurant, you do end up getting a lot of food. When you
Hmm.
break down the cost of cooking, all the ingredients that you have to have, sometimes it is more cost effective to maybe look for a restaurant special and purchase that.
Right. Yep. So let's account for inflation and let's say $10, right, per visit. Is that fair? I mean, right now I think it's like what, $12, $13 for a full meal at a fast food restaurant. Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah, but
So
I would say $12.
okay, so let's say you're going to do that twice for the month, right? Treat yourself two times. So we'll put 24 in here, maybe if it'll let me put it in. There we go.
And I think you're at the point where you're not going to ask me for any more recommendations because I'm going to put you in the red.
Well, so now it depends on where we live. I mean, do you need transportation to get back and forth to where you're going? Are you in a suburb or are you in city? Okay, because a car payment could be an essential or it could also be a want. So that's what comes down here and could potentially put you over, right?
consider
So,
consider this, the cost of Lyft. When you calculate the cost of having to have transportation, which includes your car payment and your
hmm,
insurance and your cost of fuel, right?
yeah,
Don't consider having to buy a car necessarily a need yet. Look at the cost of what if I schedule a Lyft every day to take me back and forth to work, what that cost looks like Monday through Friday, and break that down compared to what you would be paying if you had a car, cost of gas, cost of insurance, and things like that. Because that's something I'm actively doing now at Hope. We live in Pennsylvania, and in some
hmm,
places, you need to have a car. But
yep,
a Lyft for us to take us right to the mall is like only $8, and there's everything there that you need. So for us, given where we live right now, even though we're in an area where transportation is a necessity, we get it from ride sharing platforms. So that's a
yep,
way we save.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm right there with you. Where we live, I need transportation, and Yomi is saying she needs transportation too. So we will say you outright bought that car. It is a, oh, I don't know, let's say a 2002, whatever, right? That you outright bought. It gets you back and forth, so you don't have to pay for it. But you do have car insurance, and as a younger person, you're going to pay just for liability on that, probably somewhere between $90 to $150 a month. Would you agree for
Um,
insurance?
not really, not unless you were established with your parents coming off. I mean, I don't want to make it too technical, but on average, it's probably more likely to be 100 and between 100 and 150
Okay,
is
so
liability.
let's use
For a young person
125.
that either, I would say between the ages of 18 and 25.
Yep. So we'll use 125 for that. And then for health insurance, we're going to assume that the job that you got is pretty good and they're including that in your salary. Unless we want to add that in there.
Yeah,
But
don't be lying. Well, you're making $31,000 a year. They're not paying your health insurance. However, um, I think at 31,000 for a single individual, you mm, might be right at poverty level, or maybe just a couple of bucks ahead of it. I kid you
right.
not, 31,000. So you can shop for
But,
insurance more cost effectively. There are small plans within your state. There's even plans that are offered through a network service that you don't need a broker for. You
yeah.
um, pay as you go or pay. So all of this to say, these are things that you wouldn't have thought of
Hmm.
beforehand. The fact that you're putting this on paper makes it really real. And now you can have a sense of control where you can say, okay, you know what? Here's what my expenses are going to be. Um, I have experience, and this job is only offering me 31,000. what can I do to level up my work experience so I get to 45,000, because that's what I really need to do this list.
Right. Yep. So Yomi said free insurance through my job. Um, so are we going to put a value in for health insurance? Because I have no idea what that would be for a new person. Well, here, let's take a look.
Shoot, for premium, I
I
would
already did the report.
say, yeah, when Hope Marie got her summer job a couple of years ago, and then they offered her to come on permanently, she was she was offered, I think, for $85 a month, and then she had like a minimal copay, like 5-10 bucks, something like that, for prescriptions and doctor visits. So she was still out of pocket something for the job, um, but it wasn't by much.
All right. So this isn't promising. Uh, Average monthly cost $385 for a 19-year-old.
Okay, so here's the reason why we're doing this, right? Um, you know, these are things that we all talk about, on how we want to build wealth and where we find the means necessary to build wealth. So these are things that we're talking about that are very practical, that you can take a look at and say, okay, here's my skill level. Here's what they're offering me. Do I care more about the hourly rate, or are the benefits is where I'll see savings by
Mm-hmm.
taking that $31,000 a year job that pays full benefits? For example, McDonald's.
Yep.
I'm not knocking a manager at McDonald's. Do you know what they make? Right?
Yeah.
Saying. So sometimes you just have to put aside, um, social norms. Oh, you work at McDonald's, they pay my full benefits. Yes, I do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. So I want people to take this list and feel empowered when they're looking and going, wow, this is what insurance is going to cost. This
Yep.
is what this job is offering me. That other job may be offering me 38 a year, but this one is paying 31 in all my insurance, which is a
Mm-hmm.
savings of well over 20K a year.
Yep.
That's how you need to be looking at jobs now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, yeah. So I mean, if your job is a little less than that 31,000, let's say it's 24,000 bring home, but they are giving you full health insurance, as well as a 401k, where they're matching and other great features that go along with that, or other great benefits, that actually adds up to more than, that 31,000. So it's just all stuff to keep in mind. Well said, Rochelle. Uh, so for health insurance, are we going to include that in the salary, or are we adding $398 here?
I think there are a lot of companies that pay a lower salary, but offer a
Mhm.
lot more in benefits. So I think that we want to keep it at that. Um, Fast food restaurants are a lot of them.
Yep.
Um, Starbucks. Um, my goddaughter worked for Starbucks, and when she went through the barista training, she was making maybe 24, 25. When I did her taxes the following year, she was 22. And I was like, what? When she sent me her W-2, I was like, no way you made $72,000 last year. There's
Right.
no way working at Starbucks you made $72,000 last year. She said, I
Mm.
stopped very little. But I stopped very little. But I was in there, and I was there for it, because she also got um, uh, stocks.
Yeah.
And so her overall compensation package for that year was phenomenal, Scott.
Yep.
This is like a 22-year-old, right? So sometimes you just have to put aside, well, I can't work for a fast food company. Hey, if you can sling that burger, because it's paying for your insurance. It's
Yep.
paying your stocks. It's giving you the benefits that you need to not only survive, but thrive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, we talked about this, I don't know how many weeks ago, but, you know, really it's a matter of doing what you need to now, today, so you can do what you want to do later on, right? And if what you need to do is work at a fast food restaurant or work at, a coffee shop or where, grocery store or whatever, uh, to so that 10 years down the road, you have better opportunities because, you know, of the income that you're making doing something you don't like to do. I mean, it's something that you have to kind of bite the bullet and do. Um,
You've always talked about um, having planned out for several years, and so the fact that you're talking about, hey, listen, this is what you need today to survive. It is a job. It may not be your career path. It may not be something that oh, I'm in love with doing, but you do it because I think fundamentally it does give you some sense of satisfaction on getting a job well done. Here's
mhm.
something else that people don't consider. Did you know that Walmart pays almost 100% of tuition?
Yep.
Did you know that working for Apple, they offer you access to the what is it, the I app, the their learning center, so
Mhm.
you can skill up. So I want you to take a look at these jobs that may offer a lower monthly salary, but take a look at the benefits that they offer. One, for skilling up, right? Getting more experience and having some type of certification so you can move up in the company or move out, right? Also consider, you're thinking, man, 20, I'm unbreakable, right? I am a legend. A
Yeah,
cold can't take me down,
we
right?
were all legends at 20. Come on.
Come on. Um, and then you show up at the emergency room and then get like a $20,000 medical bill. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, it's a different kind of conversation, right? So being prepared, I think, is the best way to move forward. I didn't have an opportunity to have things like this, so I love that we're talking about this, and it could be applied for any age group. And
Mhm.
I think for me, right, because looking at it, you're like, man, been at this job for 15 years, I can't take it anymore. What do I have? What are they offering me so that I can exit and be where I do want to be? Right. So having this list, breaking it down day by day, where your money is going out and what you need to survive and even thrive. I love this list.
Yep. And Yomi chiming in, she was in a similar situation, was able to utilize her company's tuition reimbursement for her last year of college. Those are the types of things that you have to look into when you get hired for whatever position that is, because maybe it's not the best paying position and it's not the most glorious, job out there, but it might give you benefits that you were unaware of. And not to overlook this, Yomi, but um, you know, we're gonna touch on this after we get through this list the first time, because I want to just go back and show how you can make adjustments to make things more in your favor, right? But great comment, great comment. She was able to live at home first and didn't have to move out right away. So my best friend, same situation, got a great job and stayed living with his parents for quite a while and was able to store away a lot of money because he was making more than he needed to live, and his parents didn't want anything for him to live there. They felt like he just, I think they just wanted to keep him around a little longer, right? I don't know. But no, good point, and we will get back to that. So, are we going to pay for health insurance, or is that included in the salary? Pay for it. Let's pay for it. Let's do worst case scenario, 398. All right. So we have a car, so we don't.
I was grabbing my addiction, Pepsi.
All good, all good. So I put 398 in for health insurance because we're gonna look at it as a worst case scenario here. Transportation, we already have a car that we own outright. We're paying insurance on it. Um, so now we have a phone bill and internet. All right. So I have no idea. I would guess the average cell phone bill would be about $80. Is that right? Or less?
Not including the cost of the phone. So, moving out on your own, don't knock it. There is a $50 um that's being paid towards, I think it's up to 50, it might be more, paid towards your internet bill. That's provided by the federal government right now. Um, you want to take advantage of that. $50 on your internet is still a savings. We ain't talking
Hmm.
about having all the streaming channels. We're simply talking about your access to the internet, right?
Yep.
In addition to that, as a young person moving out, this is based on your income. You can have a free Lifeline phone that offers text messaging, with, voice calls with 5 gigabytes of data every month. Um, and it's 4G. It works everywhere. It comes with a free phone. They call it the Obama phone. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I got one from Mark. He still has his iPhone that I got him, but he's got because he didn't want to pay the bill. I'm like, dude, I'm not
Right.
paying your bill. He's like, well, mom, nope. So I got him one of those, and you know what he does? He shares the Wi-Fi with his iPhone, and then doing whatever, who knows what, and he all he does is text anyway.
Hmm.
I want young people to think about this. When was the last time you picked up the phone and actually called anyone?
Yeah.
What do you care how many minutes you get? Because you never use it. What you do use is text messaging and social media. Taking a look at that, when you go shop for your phone, those are the things that you want to take a look at. Chances are you may not have a laptop, may not have a computer. So
Yep.
buying a smartphone may make sense for you because if this is how you keep up to date on things, you like to be aware of new tech, being in the industry, whatever it is,
Hmm.
maybe it might be worth it to spend a couple of $100 as an investment to get a smartphone. This is an example.
Yep.
Um, but if it's not a necessity, ain't nothing wrong with the Obama phone. Just saying.
Right.
Because we're looking to build wealth, people. We don't care.
Well, so we'll. What are we going to put down for phone? Because
Free
I
$50.
$50. Okay.
Mhm.
And then internet, is that something that is essential or is that a want?
That's
I
a really,
would.
that's a really tough one because for me, I think it is essential because
Mhm.
one, you may not have um, any kind of active TV service.
Right.
Number one, because it's expensive, right? Number two, you could teach yourself stuff from YouTube, right? There's a lot that you can do with it. So for me, I think that just internet access is absolutely a need and not a want list.
Okay. So let's take a look at what the average. All right, 100 megabytes per second, 39.99 a month. Sound good? Or should we do
God,
here?
yeah,
Average US is 64. We'll use 64.
yeah, I could see that you don't do this stuff, do you? Yeah, we probably need Megan for this one.
What's that?
uh, I saw that you picked like the first thing, which is what everybody does. Yes,
Yeah, well,
comments on
uh,
that is going to be that you're probably going to have to rent the modem. Going to have to pay like $100 to $150 installation. Going to have to sign a contract for 2 years. So yeah, no, no. What I will say is if you get a smartphone that has unlimited data,
yep,
um, then you may not need internet access at home. All right,
that's right.
number one. Number two, they give you pretty good reception. So, if you want to log into mom's Netflix account, you know, streaming service will work really well, which is something else that you can look at. Does your phone plan include anything for free? Any additional services that you get for free? If you start the right mindset now, trying to be frugal for where you want to be 5 years from now, these are all
Hmm.
the things that you could be looking at.
100% agree. I'm going to make this bigger because we really don't need the calculator at this point in time. All right. So we have a couple of others here. Is there anything else you can think of that we may want to change or we may need to classify as essential?
Okay, Mark does not have a car. His monthly transportation, um, I think his Metro card is like 300 or something, like 300 something dollars a month.
Mhm.
Um, so your cost for the car is just the insurance.
is just the insurance, right? And that's because we assumed we bought a used car outright, or maybe it was a vehicle that our parents bought for us, and it's ours, right? Um,
Yeah, that
so,
didn't happen, Scott. I'm just
well,
gonna tear up your list. Scott is like, oh my god, why did I let her add this? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Oh, yeah, no, mom ain't giving you a car, right? That's not where I am from. Where I'm from is like, boy, you better get on that bus, right?
right.
So the cost for that transportation is gonna be higher. Scott.
I'm sorry. What was that? The cost for that?
Cost of that transportation is going to be higher. I think realistically, very few people are going to have a car starting out that's fully paid for. I think that's a little bit
So,
unrealistic. I don't know. You could correct me. Ask Megan. I just think that for most people, um, it's going to be public transportation.
okay, so we want to get rid of the car insurance and then do public transportation.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's more reasonable.
All right. And you said public transportation for a month was how much?
I would put that about $300.
300.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And anything else that you think would be essential that is not here? I can think of one right now.
I don't see my NFTs. Where's my NFT money?
That's coming. Clothes. We don't account for clothes. I mean, you can wear clothes till they fall apart, and I did when I was that age. Um, but
We
that
didn't
was
put.
never. What's that?
I'm so sorry for interrupting you. We didn't put self care.
We did not.
That's majorly important because here's the thing. Um, you know, maybe you work at a Fortune 500 company.
Hmm.
Dry cleaning is going to be a bill. Um, you're not going to be living anywhere that you have a washer and dryer unless you're going back home, right? But dry cleaning is going to be something, especially if you have just two serviceable work pants, three shirts. You want to take care of it because those things tend to be a little bit more expensive for men. So dry cleaning bill is going to be part of it. Getting a haircut is going to be part of it. I don't think those things we can um, try to be frugal on because it's essential for a job. To keep your job, you got to go to work, looking and smelling like a decent human being, right?
Yep.
Um, hey, do you? But I'm just saying that self care, I think, um, needs to be an important part of setting a budget.
Absolutely. So, how much for self care and how much for clothes a month?
Wait a minute, how much for clothes a month? You ain't at your mama's house. Ain't you don't get any allowance clothes. You better make do with what you got. Okay,
Okay, so
that means wash
we
it
leave
out.
that at zero. All
Yeah.
right. So, self care, how much?
Um, what do you pay for a haircut?
It's usually about, I don't know, $17, $16.
What does Megan pay for her nails a month?
I don't know. We're not going to use that though,
No, I'm gonna tell you
because
why we're gonna use that because we just use that as self care for women, which tends to be a little bit more expensive. And I'm not saying this um, because we have to. It's literally part of um, work expectations, right? Women have to be
Mhm.
formed a certain way. They didn't pass the Crown Act, so some women don't have the option,
Yeah.
Scott. Um, when it comes to hair, right?
Hmm.
For women of color, hair can be very expensive,
Yep.
and because they didn't pass the Crown Act, I might be hindered in my employment if I choose to go natural. So that's a real conversation that we're having as well. I'm sorry, I blew apart your list, didn't I?
No, no, no. And I didn't want to use Megan as an example because where she's at with spending money for nails is not where she was at spending money when she was 19, right? So, when she was 19, how much would you say you spent for your nails?
Well, nails was the only thing that I know she got
A month?
done, Scott. It was more like what because I don't do my nails, I don't get my hair done, so I can't tell you for me because I go natural, right? Um,
Hmm.
so that's why I was asking. So I was going to say, hey, if that's what she spends on her nails, then that would be the budget for the whole month.
Right. So She said maybe 100, 120 a month.
I think that's reasonable for a woman because they gotta buy all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's considered self care, feminine products. All of those things could be in that budget for the 120.
Yep, absolutely. And is there anything else that we need as essential? Can you think of anything? The audience, Yomi, Dr. Tammy, anything that you guys can think of, by all means, feel free to shout it out.
Oh, did we pay credit card bills already?
No, we didn't get there yet.
Oh my god, bro!
So,
I told you.
so this is kind of where we're at. We're just through what we need to survive on a monthly basis, and that leaves us with $263 left. Okay.
All right, it's 9:01, and I
Yep.
love that we're doing this. Can we go a little bit longer to get to the end, or?
Yeah, we can keep going. I figure we'll go through it once, and then we'll just show how everything kind of works out. This is kind of the point in this that you get in trouble, right? Because you end up getting your credit card and you put a balance on it, and then you get another credit card, you put a balance on it, and if you're only making the minimum payment, guess what? Your balance isn't going down. It's staying the same because all you're paying is the interest, right? So on here, this is to put the minimum payment for a credit card. So we'll say $30 a month is your minimum payment to pay off a credit card with, we'll say, a $500 balance.
So take a look at how we spent our cash income coming in. We're now starting out. We'll do something different for somebody who's, maybe at a middle stage. But for this list, you're now starting out, right?
Yep.
You know that on a monthly basis, your utilities are going to be between, let's say, $200 a month.
Yep, 266.
Yeah. Put your utilities on your credit card as auto pay.
Yep.
Then pay your utilities in full every month on that credit card. And this is the reason why I'm asking you to do that. Not only will you build credit faster, you also increase your chances of being able to get more credit when needed. So don't think of the credit card, oh, but the utilities on. I got $266 to spend this month. Let's go buy NFTs. Let's go buy crystals. Not happening.
I actually just bought her up. She spends 150, 175 for self-care. And that's for the entire month. So we're not too far off there. We can make that 150.
Yeah, and that's something that, and this is not a discussion on politics, religion, or anything. This is just the facts. This is not my opinion. This is not your opinion. This is just the facts. Women tend to have a little bit more expenses when it comes to self-care in order to keep employment. So this is not me going, oh yeah, I just gotta have the latest Balenciaga. I don't even know what that is. I just hear it a lot. I gotta have, no, this is seriously basic self-care. When you go buy feminine products on a monthly basis, you're at 25 to 30 bucks a month. Yep. There is no, oh, I can't afford past this month, I can't come to work. That's not happening, right? And I'm not trying to be gross, and I'm just saying these are issues that women face compared to a young man who could just get a barber and get his haircut, 2 weeks, or even say, hey, I'm letting it grow out, and it's excused. Women can't do that. Yep. And I don't care what shade you are, right? Literally, women can't do that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's definitely a needs list for self-care, just on basic things that women need from month to month.
Yep. I agree. And Yomi did bring up a good point. Unless you do your own nails, do your own hair, but you still have to buy the tools to do it. So that still costs something. And to go back to your other thing with the credit card, this is where a lot of people make mistakes. I mean, at this point, when your essentials are covered, right, that leaves $233 for an entire month for your spending. And you are able to get a credit card that has a $500 limit on it. And instead of paying your utilities with that, you're using that to buy, additional self care, or to buy, something that you really want, or to buy that, brand new shiny crystal. And you make a great point. What you're saying to do is take that credit card, put all your bills on auto pay on that credit card. Now, with a first credit card, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of perks. You may even have a annual fee. If you can get away from that, by all means, get away from that. But um, down the road, by building up a good credit, you can actually get a credit card that pays you back for doing this. So not only are you spending, you know, or using it to buy all or pay for all your utilities, but you're also getting 2% cash back on all those utilities. So now the credit card's paying you to use it, right? And all the other people are paying the 20 to 30% interest because they're rolling balances.
And I think again, we're talking about this budget for somebody just starting out.
Yep.
And I think the biggest advantage you can give any young person in life is discussing how credit is going to affect them for the rest of their life. And
Absolutely.
so, really fine tuning your one ability to have access to credit, and two, utilizing that credit as a financial investment for your future. What does that
Yep.
mean? Instead of treating that credit card as I'm going to put it on the credit card and pay it over time for something you really want, consider this as a business line of credit. And so when you pay it every single month religiously with zero late report, um, and
Yep.
carrying zero debt, even though you're utilizing it every single month, I guarantee you a year from that date where it was a $500 limit, you might even see yourself at 25 or 5,000. Give
Right.
yourself 2 to 3 years and you will be able to do things that the typical 22, 23, 24 year old may not be able to do because now you have an established line of credit that can
Yep.
help you facilitate some of your dreams. So, just an example on how to utilize credit to the best advantage that you have when you're young.
Absolutely. And before we go further here, I want to take a look at where our debt to income is currently at. So right now, you have a almost a 2 to 1 debt to income, meaning that you know 2/3 of your income is considered remaining income, available income to pay debt. And this is where a lot of people can get into trouble. And the reason they can get into trouble is, your debt to income ratio isn't really taken from everything that's on here. It is taken from these things right here: your mortgage or rent, car loan or lease, student loans, minimum credit card payment, personal loans, and child support. Those are the things that make up your debt to income. So, looks like we have Yomi popping in. Hey, Yomi, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. So, the point I was making with this is, you see how much additional funds you currently have with just one credit card. You have a remaining $203 for a month. And when the credit card company looks at your application and looks at your debt to income, they're seeing this and they're saying, well, geez, we can give them, another credit card, or we can, give them the ability to get themselves into more trouble, right? So that's something that I wanted to make sure was on here. And watch what happens if we take this and make it $200, which leaves you with $3 or $33 left for the month. Your debt to income still looks good to the bank. Isn't that crazy? You are on the verge of being in the negative, but yet you would still be able to look good on paper to get additional credit.
But see, that's I hate to put it this way because It's something I've always laughed about where the blockchain is concerned, and you talk about dev math. Dev math is
Mhm.
always imaginary because I don't know how the hell they make it work, right? Um,
Yep.
but it really is about your ability to look so good on paper to these banks that when you go in to make that power play, you got it hands down. But
Yep.
it means building the foundation to do those things now. And utilizing credit in that way is absolutely a phenomenal tool because we weren't born into wealth.
Right.
You know what I mean? We weren't born into wealth, but we do understand that credit is a tool that we can absolutely utilize to help create the wealth that we want for ourselves and for others.
Hmm.
I wish I had this breakdown when I was 19.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
I wish I had. I mean, I'm floored looking at it now because I've never really seen it like
Hmm.
this. I've heard people talk about doing it and like budgeting and stuff, and it's like, okay, no, because I don't really want to look at. I don't want to look at it, but I like the fact that you're doing it, and I want this template from you.
Absolutely.
I want
I'll
it.
So I actually created it in a Google Doc, and anybody who's interested or would like a copy of it, I will share it with you. But I'll also give you instruction on how to, duplicate it and save it on your own. Because if I share it with you and you start making changes, the next person is going to see whatever changes you made. So
Yeah.
you'll be able to take it, essentially copy the entire thing, and then save it on your own Google Doc.
Yes, I
But
I want this. I really do. I've been watching it since you started, and it's
yeah.
like, I mean, just you could basically, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. No, I want it. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, and I thought the visuals would be good too. Like this is where we're currently sitting at with our budget, right? Our essentials, our needs, our utilities, our credit. This is what the goal budget, according to the internet, and the multiple sites that I've looked at that say this is how your spending of your income should be broken down, right? Um, it looks totally different than this, doesn't it? And we're not even done yet. So anyway, moving on.
No, I'm sorry. This, it seemed like it took a long time for us to get through, but the whole it makes no sense to me to say,
Hmm.
"Oh, here's your tool. Go ahead." Well, I
Yeah.
can't build a house if you don't teach me how,
Uh,
right?
and we're still not done. I mean, we still have other things to
Yeah,
go through.
that's what I'm saying. I've he's actually sitting here going through, and even if it seems like it's something simple, the fact that he's going step by step and then he's explaining and elaborating on, okay, what this is and what this entails, and you have to consider all these things, and it's like, oh, I didn't think of that.
Right.
So I just been going through my life, just, okay, this bill is due. Let me pay this bill. Let me do this. Let me do that. And you just over this is how I've always been. And it's like, okay, yeah. So how do I budget? Okay, well, my check is this much. Just don't spend this much because you can't spend that much because your check isn't that much. So it's like that. And you just don't. I've never had someone sit here and say, okay, it's not, hard to do, or it shouldn't be something I'm afraid of, but I'm very afraid of this. Very
Right.
afraid of
And
it.
that's
I'm
because
scared
we're
of it.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I think. Listen, we spent 5 episodes talking about um, having the mindset and the way we buy and the emotions that are involved in all of it. Um, and I really love that Scott did this run because the truth is it can be very scary. It can. And I found myself, and I don't know if you've experienced this as well, Scott. Like, Hope is going to be 21 in March, and we're having these real discussions because she's ready. She's, Mama, I kind of want to go out on my own. I don't want. a one bedroom apartment, I'll be scared, right? I'll be scared because I'm in a closed room and I don't know who's coming in, right? I want a studio, so that works for her emotionally, right?
Mhm.
Um, then we talk about, well, you want to pursue your art. Well, that means that you have to have a basic level of income that's going to pay all of your bills. And when I say all of your bills, I'm talking about just your essentials on a
Mhm.
monthly basis if you want to pursue your art, where it's your passion and not your job, right?
Right.
So when I asked her to make an appointment the other day, um, to go see her doctor, I'm like, 2 days. Why have you made the appointment? Well, I don't know how. And I found myself being annoyed, thinking, "The hell you mean you don't know how? You could Google all kinds of shit on YouTube and you can't." And I got really annoyed with her. And she's like, "Mom, why are you getting annoyed with me? I don't know how to call the doctor." And I had to check myself on that. Like, did you teach your son how to call the doctor? Because it was something you always did as a parent.
Yep.
So
And
yeah, so having these discussions where it's broken down like this, where it's a visual aid, it helps me explain better and not be frustrated with her at things I think she should already know. Does that
yep,
make sense?
100%. And that's part of why I did it, because we've talked about it, and we talked about the mindset, and we've talked about, the things that we've gone through and our experiences and whatnot. And we keep referring to starting with a budget, right? Well, maybe somebody isn't sure how to start that way. And this may not be the right way for them, but the point is, I kind of put it together to be as simple and to break it down to kind of give you individual goals within your budget. And when we get through the savings and the fun money, we can go back and look at that. uh, but yeah, no, I agree 100%. um,
I think it's definitely something that we can continue with,
yep.
um, when Matthew's on next week, because then he could take a look at it and say, hey, yeah, you're right. Right? Those are really are the numbers that they look at nationally. But is it really the numbers that we need to be looking at? Can
Right.
you actively save 10% of your income starting out automatically? Right? Best what I was taught.
Hmm.
That's what you were taught. The minute you got a job that had 401k, you set it and forget it. You put in
Yep.
10%. If you never had it, you won't miss it.
Yep.
Right? But is
Yeah.
that
And
the way we should be
yep.
interesting? So I can't wait to hear his.
Oh, absolutely. So here, let's just run through these, and then we'll go through the whole chart. um, do we want to have another credit card, or one is enough?
No, let's just stick with one because I'm
No,
scared. So
no,
can we stick with one?
no, I guess I like his idea of two because he's absolutely correct. Anything can happen. You're out on your own. And remember, one credit card may just have like a $500 limit. It's just something that you should be prepared for, but not use. Right. So I like the thought of two. You said one was for emergency and one we can build credit on by
Yep.
paying our utilities. Yeah.
Now,
I like that
just
idea too.
as a FYI, uh, they don't tell you this, but a lot of credit cards will cancel your card automatically if it is not used within a 2-year time frame.
Yes. I learned that the hard way.
I did
I had
too.
a credit card that two, as a matter of fact, that I just used every now and again, just periodically, just whenever I wanted to buy something and then I would pay it off.
Mhm.
And I actually got I had a Belk card and I actually got notice a Belk and a Sam's card and they closed them because I didn't use them.
Yep.
And I was like, but they don't have a balance and they're in good standing, but they closed them.
Yep. So something you could do with that second card is maybe as a present for you once a year, right? Uh, use that card to pay for dinner one night and treat yourself, and then pay it off with the funds that you used for the restaurants, right? Um, just as an idea, and that keeps that card active.
I also think when you get a card closed by the bank, I think it reflects negatively. I'm not sure about that part.
Actually, it doesn't.
Oh,
When
okay.
you cancel a credit card, it reflects negatively, and I have firsthand experience on that. Yeah, if you cancel a credit card, it actually hits your credit, and it affects your credit score.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say I really like the idea of tying a credit card to a utility that you know you have to pay. You ain't got no choice, buddy. Um, maybe just split your utilities between them both. Um,
Hmm.
that's the key. This is not, oh, so I'm gonna just pay the $50 this month. No, you
Yep.
would have had to pay 266 out of your check. Pay the
Yep.
whole 66. This is definitely the grind. This is the consistency that allows you to create that cushion for you to then go to somebody like Matthew and say, okay, I've saved up $5,000. Where can I go from here? Or I've
Hmm.
saved up $500. Where can I go from here? Is putting it in my 401k the best move? Do I want a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA? What can I do? That's when you can have that conversation. And this is what helps get you there.
Absolutely. And speaking of retirement and Roth IRAs, let's come down here to the next section. So our monthly income is now down to $173 left that we have to buy ourselves things we want and to put into savings. So we don't have the 10% to put into the recommended 10% to put into savings. And maybe we're not at that point yet, but we had talked about this in the past. Starting with something is better than nothing, right?
$25. I have something right now that automatically drives $25 regardless. I don't even look at it. It's set up, and I have $25 going to an account that it's just going there
Yep.
automatically, and it's a little bit, but it builds. It's $25 a week, so that's $100 a month.
It's
Yep.
not about it being a little bit. You know what it is? It's about establishing the routine. It is the consistency.
That's right. We talked about that last week. It is making it the normal so that you just don't account for that $25. That $25 never existed. That's a bill that goes out every month.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like my 401k at my job. So I set that percentage, and it's money that comes out of my check before I even get it, right? So it's
Yep.
not like I'm gonna miss it. And it's somewhere, oh well, it's just sitting somewhere in an account or whatever. So I treat this $25 the same way. It's just like money that it's just going somewhere, and I don't even care where it goes. I know
Hmm.
it's mine, and I just, it's just there.
Yep. Absolutely. So, anything else that we're going to put in this block right here? Because now we're down to $148, which leaves us with about $30, $35 uh, a week that we can spend on frivolous things.
NFTs,
We can spend the $35 a week on NFTs.
I'm good.
So,
I'm all in.
all right. So then we're going to we'll say $140 and leave ourselves with $8 left. So $140 on NFTs, you know, so much for movie night, right?
Wait, don't
You
knock.
know what I used to do? I used to look at every movie for free before it even hit the big screen, because on Thursday nights the local movie theater would screen the movies, right?
Oh,
So
cool.
so what I did was, usually when I got off work, like they would probably start around 11 o'clock. That's when all the other movies would end at the movie theater. So it'd be like 11, 11:30, right?
Hmm.
So one of my coworkers was in good with one of the guys at the movie theater. So he was like, "Yeah, y'all could come." So every Thursday night, if there was a new release coming out Friday, I saw it on Thursday night.
Wow.
So I didn't have to pay, I didn't have to pay to go see, the latest movies. So that was one thing, because I was a big movie buff. I would go to movies all the time. So that would be one way that I would save money, because around that time I think movies would cost it they were like 7.50 for a matinee, or
Hmm.
maybe 5.50 for a matinee, and like $8 if you went, after 6 or something like that.
Yep, we're dating
So
ourselves.
yeah, so during, during that time, I have no idea how much a movie would cost now. I'd probably die if I try to go get a movie now, to a
I
movie theater now. But
yeah.
a- and at that time, the dude I was dating, he worked nights, so I worked like a second shift type thing. So I got off, like 10:30, 11, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to the movies tonight. And he'd be like, you gonna look at it without me? Yeah, dude, I gotta pay. So I would so I would just go and look at it and I didn't have to pay. And if we ended up going again the weekend, okay, he paid. I wasn't paying because I done seen it. So
Nice. Yeah,
so it's little tricks like that that I had, because like I said, I started out I was 19 with a part-time job and I got my first car. My first car was a brand new car. My first my first car ever was a brand new car that I couldn't even drive. I had to learn how to drive it because I opted to get a stick because it was $1,200 cheaper.
yeah.
So it's a lot of little things that I did when I first started out that were pretty good, like they were pretty good decisions. But once I got like more into it and I didn't really understand the credit situation because I wasn't taught any of that. I wasn't taught budgeting. I wasn't taught, to the credit thing. I wasn't, but saving, sure, okay, I'll throw some money over here and when you have an issue or you got an emergency, you tap into that. But yeah, so this right here just I just really am happy that you're breaking it down like this, even if some people look at it and say, wow, that's like, that's not that big of a deal. It is for me. So I'm very appreciative for you doing this tonight.
So you're right. And the other people there look at it and they don't think it's that big of a deal because they are doing the same thing that we're taught, or I don't even know if they still teach it as far as balancing a checkbook, right? They're just looking at their account, they're paying what they need to pay, and they're not paying attention to where their funds are going to see if they can make a correction or they can change it up a little bit to make it better for them down the road. And that's my whole point with creating this was down here at the very bottom it shows us that our month end balance is $8.83, so we're good. We have a green light there, everything looks good. We come up to the top and we look at our budget. Our needs are at 31.76%. Our utilities are at 10.16. Our essentials are at 49.14. Our credit is at 2.29. Savings is at 0.96. And spending is at 5.35, totaling 99.66% of our total income is being spent every month on these things. All right. And this is where, those targets are. And I mean, they can, be changed to, the what the averages are, so the 30, the 10, and whatnot. But even there, you can see where your personal setup is different from what they recommend you're at. And you can even see it better down here on the chart. This is our spending habit, and this is what we should strive to get to, right? And you notice here how our essentials, our utilities, and our needs take up, here, we'll just add it up. That's 50, 60, 90% of our income is spent on our absolute needs. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and I mean, I like the way you did this too because I'm looking at it and I want to do this with my children, like in real time, in real life, because a lot of times they ask for things and I say, no, you can't have that because this, that, and the third, or I have to pay this, or that's not, something you need. But
Yep.
to actually sit there and show them this and say, okay, look, this is why we can't do this, or I can't do it right now because this, that, and the third, because I have to take care of this. And this is how, you can see it. And they too have like, they have their money, their own money. Like they do things for their grandparents and they pay them or they have gifts or whatever. So I would love to, actually have like they have their own little budgets and this is okay, look, this is what you this is what you have now. You want to buy that new skateboard because my daughter's been going on about a skateboard. You want to buy that skateboard, okay, this is how much of your money that it's going to take, but how much are you going to set aside for saving? How much money are you going to set aside for your art supplies? Because they draw, they like, they buy these big, no, they don't buy, I buy these big these big drawing pads that they use all the time. So it's, I really like I'm really like the fact that you did this, because I can see it. It makes it visual, because numbers tend not to be visual,
Yep.
and this makes it tangible. So I really like this.
Now, on that, let's say you're not living on your own and you're living with mom and dad and they're okay with it. You're contributing to the bills, but you're not responsible for the entire bill. And we'll put 25, right? And then yeah, you chip in for groceries. So let's leave that stuff there the same. Let's say you're on mom and dad's insurance, because a lot of times you can stay on their health insurance until you're 21. So we can zero that out. We'll keep transportation. We'll keep the phone, the internet, and self care. Let's say because we're living with mom and dad, we can up that to 300, right? Spend a little bit more on ourselves. We'll leave the credit cards the way they are. And look over here at how much this number has changed. So now getting to this $260 here is feasible. And in fact, let's just put we'll put $550. Okay. So we're at that 20% mark. And we still have $700 here that we can spend on ourselves in a month. Isn't that crazy?
Yep, looks like I could buy me a crystal.
That's right. Or a couple, right? And now our budget looks so much nicer than this budget. So the thing is, if you're young and you're at that point where you're 18, 19, and you have the ability to still stay home and cut your cost of living and make this starting salary for which is the average across the United States, you could actually start stocking this money away. And instead of doing this, let's say you do 200 here and you put the other 350 into dividend stocks, something that pays passive, and they pay you, I don't know, we'll say 3%, right? Or I think Coca-Cola is like 2% uh, yield. I don't know the financial advisor, but we'll just say 3%. Okay, so that 250 times 0.03 equals divided by 12. So that pays you an extra 62 cents a month. And every month that you add that much more, it's going to double that. And then it's going to compound and it's going to keep growing. And that'll be another income you can put in right there.
Yep. So um that's why I like this so much, because I can actually, like I said, show this to my children like now.
Mm-hmm.
And I can actually use our actual, okay, this is what we make. This is our
Yep.
utilities. These are our light bills, our cable bill, our phone bill. And they
Yep.
could actually see this in real time. So they'll have a jump start over what, because I didn't get this. So I would really, I really like the fact that I could show this to them and they could actually learn this right now, even with art supplies and candy. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And that's the whole idea. And this is, things that, we're trying to embrace in our son, uh, where he understands that he's going to be living on his own. Yes, he's going to college, but and he's going to be living in a dorm, and a lot of his needs are going to be taken care of with, that whole experience. But he's still going to have to be able to manage his money. He's going to be have to be able to know where to put it, and it's something that he needs to learn now before he's in that position where he's got that first job and he's working and he has to make all his ends meet, you know?
I
So,
know that's why I'm most excited for it. I think it gives them a sense of control and helps them be better prepared to just make smarter decisions. Honestly,
yep, I agree. Yeah. And again, it might need some tweaking, like I said, I was playing around with it and throwing it together throughout the week and, trying to get as much information as I could, as accurate as I could. But, for you, it might be something else. I mean, an essential could possibly be, who knows? I mean, I don't know. It could be a subscription, right, Rochelle? That could be an essential. If it,
subscriptions are
That
always
that's an
essential.
essential for her. They are always essential.
Yes,
Subscriptions
always
are
essential.
always
I don't
essentials
know
for
what
her.
lies you're telling your kids, but subscriptions for me are essentials.
right, and it could be if it's something that is a necessity in order for you to do your job, right? Or in order for you to, continue doing whatever. That is a need, not a want. Um, but then again, if it's just a want subscription, then it falls down under this category here, this spending category. So, and it's really trying to figure out what those needs and wants are, and breaking them down and really determining that, because I didn't even think of it, but Rochelle said self-care. I personally, I was looking at when I was 18 and living on my own and working and going to school and trying to make ends meet. I really didn't think anything about self-care. I was showered and, I was clean and, I made sure I ate something, even though it was like ramen. But, I don't think I got a haircut for, yeah, I don't think I got a haircut for, geez, from the time I was 18 till I was maybe 19 and a half, 20. Um, and my laundry skills were awesome. All my clothes were gray. All my clothes were gray. So it was very neutral. It went with everything.
No shade. I still put everything in one load. I do. I still put everything in one load.
Yeah. So I know this went a little longer than expected, but um, anybody want to chime in or add anything or
I
any?
think I know, yeah, you're right. This went on a little long tonight, but I think people who aren't maybe aware of this or wasn't exactly sure how this happens, I think they would greatly appreciate it. I know I do. So I'm glad that you took the extra time to go through and say and show how you do these things and what you need to consider when you're doing your budget. The fact that you need to actually weigh out your needs and your wants and actually decide and determine if it's something that you actually need. And if you do, maybe you can find other avenues to maybe get a reduced cost for that need if it's something that takes up a lot of your budget. So I'm appreciative of it. And I think people who, weren't very maybe, aware of this or not well versed at it, I think they would appreciate it too.
Absolutely. And yeah,
I
like I said, anybody who, oh, sorry.
was saying I fully agree, 100%.
Yeah, and anybody who would like this template, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I can be found on Twitter, Telegram. You can leave a message in the comments on this stream, and I'll reach out to you and I can make sure that you can get a copy. However, I'll also go over how you can duplicate this so that you can have your own copy and not, put your personal information on something that, anybody can see, right? Because when you share a Google Doc, it is open to anybody who opens it. So if you leave your information in there, the next person that opens it's going to see what your budget looks like. And, some people are okay with that. Some people aren't.
Very true. Very true. I know we went over a little bit, but I'm really excited to just what we've done tonight, and then when we meet with Matthew next week, for him to take a look and say, yeah, um, this is a good way to do it. I absolutely love it, man. Thank you so much for doing this, Scott.
Yeah, well, actually, he's probably going to tear it apart and say, no, 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 no. This part right here should not be 10%. It should be at least 70%. And then I'm joking.
No, no. You know what? I would like it if he tears it apart. Then great, because it just means that we have
Yeah.
a working document that can really help facilitate what we're trying to accomplish together, right? So yeah,
Yep.
absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I would love it if he tore it up. If he, if he came in and said, "No, this is the way to do it." I like the
yep,
fact that this document is dynamic because
yep,
that means it can facilitate any change that we need to do.
absolutely. And I would love his opinion or thoughts on what needs changed because there might be something that we totally overlooked. Like I said, when we started, I mean, this is just life experiences. It's not financial advice. We have I've learned this from just years of just going through it and living it and making those mistakes and doing things that I warn people not to do and that I'm sharing with my kid that hopefully he doesn't end up making those mistakes and has a better outlook for his future. So
Love it.
yep. All right. Well, ladies, it's been an hour and 42 minutes. It's been a long episode. How about we do some closing thoughts and then we'll look forward to having Matthew on next week to kind of dive in and really give us actual, financial advice.
I think for me is not rushing the process.
Yeah.
Learning to be patient. Um, you move too fast, you miss out.
Yeah.
And so rushing to do things um, because I just needed to get it done actually slowed me down. I had three systems updating all at once, couldn't get in. And it was a stupid move.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, it was a stupid. I usually have it set to automatic backup, but on the go, not charging, it doesn't automatically do it unless it's fully charged, and then it sets it to a certain time. And if it misses, it's just going to keep trying to reinstall consecutively across the board. Um, and so just tapping that install really slowed me down because I knew it at the back of my mind. I knew it, but again, and this was just for me what happened this week. But I want you to anticipate that things are going to go wrong. Things are going to happen that are out of your control. What you can do successfully is how you react to it. Um,
Yep.
don't be impatient when you absolutely know. If you just wait a little bit longer, things are going to work out the way they need to. Sometimes we are our biggest advocate. So sometimes we have to learn how to take ourselves um, away from being combative to let the process work. And I hope that made sense.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and to add on to that, I always tell people plan for the absolute worst, hope for the best. So when you're, doing anything, plan for the worst situation and hopefully that will prepare you for whatever's thrown at you. But if you're reactive, you make mistakes. And yeah, yeah, always try and think through your thoughts. And even to this day I still jump and become reactive at times, and that tends to turn out bad, because it's like you're always chasing at that point, right? Where if you just step back and look at everything, and, think about, well, if I do this, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? And you go with the path that's going to be, I don't know, the best path for you, or the way that you think it could be. I don't know. I'm it's been a long day.
No, 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 no worries. We get it, man. And again, we didn't mean for the episode to go on so long, but it's really
But
really fascinating stuff, to be honest. For me, for me.
yeah, and it's not the episode went on that long. It's just, it's been a long day. Yomi, how about you? Any final thoughts?
It's been a it's hush, I'm doing something. I'm sorry. I yeah, okay, what was the question? I'm so sorry.
I was just, we've been on for a while, and I was thinking we'll wrap it up here, and then look forward to next Friday with Matthew. And I was just asking for closing thoughts, final
Oh,
thoughts, anything like
yes,
that.
I'm looking forward to I'm actually looking forward to Matthew coming in to
Hmm.
do, because I want to know exactly how he, how he goes about determining how you break it down, and maybe he could actually give us percentages, like, oh, you need to factor in this, you need to factor in that. I really want to learn how to work this out, especially after seeing how you did it tonight. It's just I didn't think I was gonna be so into it, you know? So I kind of got surprised by it. So I'm really looking forward to how we progress from this point.
Yeah, and I mean that's it, right? It's tough to sit down and work out your own budget. Where something like this might be a useful tool to at least get you started. You know, your needs group may have more than what's listed there. Your utilities may have more than what's listed there. But the thing is, this is a good way to kind of kickstart yourself to get on that right track. And because it does all the math for you, all you got to do is insert those numbers that apply to you as an individual. So hopefully people find value in it, and utilize it, and helps them get started on working on their own budget, and seeing how things should work. Again, all those percentages that I used were just what I found online, national average. I am not a financial advisor. This is just, and even those averages, I didn't even look at those when I started my own budget, right? I kind of just broke things down to, this is what has to get done in order for me to get through the month and still have a roof over my head and be able to live, right? And then this is what I have borrowed money that I have to pay back. And this is the stuff that is the fun stuff, and really useless stuff. And this down here is what I'm actually putting aside to save or to invest in my future. And that's how I broke it down. And I went on, and I didn't want to touch on it tonight, and we'll touch on it another night, but with what Rochelle said about paying all your utilities on your credit cards, that is one of the steps in being able to pay all your bills at the beginning of the month, and making it all automated, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to write the checks out. You don't have to push a button. It just all does it on your own. And it all starts with using one of those credit cards to pay your bills, and then paying that credit card off. And even paying that credit card off every month can be automated. So anyway, we'll get into that in another episode, maybe 2 weeks down the road. What do you guys think?
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm definitely looking forward to that credit episode, because I've learned so much now that I absolutely wish that I knew before. And there's so many people talking about, oh, I can help you with credit. No, no. These are things that I've spent some time taking a look at. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for it.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to next week with Matthew, and hopefully both you ladies will be there. I know you will, Rochelle, but Yomi, hopefully you can join us as well. We'll have a full house. And
My God, I just noticed Yomi's PFP. My hair looks like it was
Yeah, I
I
know. My
need to look at
PFP is
camera.
fire. Don't get me started. it. I was trying to be calm about it.
Okay,
I
we're
was
gonna
trying to be
digress.
calm about
No,
it.
it's
You know how Scott is. Scott doesn't like it when we get in
yeah,
tangents,
it's
even
an
though he's
hour.
very quiet. But but I will try my best to be here next week. Yeah, I may be a little late, and I do apologize for that. But I will try to at least hop in, even if I'm only in the chat. I will try to get in here and you know yuck it up with you guys.
Well,
Yeah,
I appreciate you jumping in. I was thinking, it would have just, well, it was great for you guys to jump in. I appreciate it. And with that, ladies, I think we're going to end the episode tonight.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate you, ladies. Have a great evening.
You too.
All right. Good night.